Hi, folks. This is John Duboff with Premier Marketing. Thank you for coming on with us today. We are about to spend the next 45 minutes to an hour or so discussing how you can get Medicare carrier help selling more through social media. And this is a campaign brought to us by our partners at Cigna. I think you're going to find some real value in this and see also next steps on how you can become really involved in utilizing the resources that they provide to you as a contracted agent with Cigna at no additional cost to you. So we're really happy to have them on to visit with us today. As I mentioned, today's presentation is being recorded, and it, along with much of the material that we'll reference, will come to everyone as part of the follow-up to today's presentation by email. So make certain that you have us as a friend so we don't go in your spam filter. But the recording link will come with that as well, and it will be posted on our website and on our YouTube channel as well. You'll notice in the software package that there is a section for both questions and chat. We're asking that you make use of the questions section, strangely enough, and make certain that you then have your questions answered through the course of the presentation. While today's presentation is featuring the Cigna program for social media, it is not necessarily a product type of situation. We're going to go through those at later times. You will also get some additional information about social media in general, and there will be a link to our navigating the new normal in Medicare that deals with a generic social media campaign too. So it'll be a benefit to you if you have a contract with folks or not, with us or not, I should say, with Cigna. So without further ado here, let's give you a little bit of level set about Premier. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. That's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We have offices across the country, and we work with independent agents such as yourself to provide services to the public. And we do so with contracts that are at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. That portfolio of products includes the Medicare Basics, in a manner of speaking, the Medicare Advantage, MedSup programs, and the standalone Part D prescription drug plan programs. But we also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, final expense life insurance, pre-need plans, long and short-term care programs, and disability income programs, and ancillary benefits such as dental, vision, hearing, critical illness cancer plans, hospital indemnity programs, accident programs, and we even rolled out a telehealth program, MD Live, last month. That Medicare Advantage portfolio includes all the national carriers and many of the strong regionals that can make a difference for you in your market. And that same philosophy carries over into the standalone prescription drug programs, those PDP plans, where those contracts are available to you through our organization, and in many circumstances are part of the MA contracts that you are making use of anyway. When you speak to Medicare supplements, we have a very broad portfolio of products there as well, and programs put in place to help you be successful in that space. And when you speak of the ancillary products, in each of those categories, you have the national leaders in each of those fields that are available to you to make certain that you give your prospects and clients as thorough a coverage as possible, but also create an additional revenue stream for you with the commission out of these products, and create another product in the household that drives up your persistency, your retention across the board. So when you look at the Medicare opportunity, you don't come on a call like this without somebody like me spouting out, hey, you got the aging of the baby boomers, the silver tsunami, 1 every 10 seconds, more than 10,000 people a day. But if you're looking just based on age, we're a little askew because there's an increasing percentage, particularly over the last year, of folks that have reached Medicare eligibility based on age and declined to take advantage of it completely immediately. So it takes that number down a little. But then when you look at the total population, you've got 15% of the folks that are on Medicare because of the medical disability they deal with. And they're also an audience for people we reach out to with our products, particularly if you look in the Medicare Advantage arena, where those folks have the same benefit package, qualifications, and everything else that comes with this option. And it is an option they need to really look at because, well, gee, you can look at this and you see 2/3 of the Medicare population has 3+ chronic conditions, and they have some challenges with their budgets. So we need to make certain we have programs in place to help them with whatever decision they make. They don't have to do anything. They can pick up Part B or decline it. They can pick up Part D or not, the drug coverage. They can pick up a standardized, modernized Med Sup to cover the medical cost shortfall, or enroll in a Medicare Advantage program. The thing is, with the programs that are available on social media, it can appeal to people in each of these demographics, and that's part of the reason we go through this. Because part of what we see when people do take advantage of Medicare, be it by a regular agent, the late to Medicare seniors, those sorts of folks, we're seeing a pretty even split when they first become part of the Medicare program. And so we need something that appeals to them, not only on a product basis, but a way for them to realize we're there to help them. And these campaigns can do just that. We also, as part of the follow-up, will send you this guide, and it's a communication translator, in a manner of speaking, one of those acronym guides. There are thousands of acronyms that are involved in the Medicare space. I've been active in the space for 25, 30 years now. There's always an acronym that pops up. You got to go, what's that mean? This can help you. And while we deal with the Medicare population as a whole, and the election periods, the standardized ones don't appeal or necessarily limit us in how we reach out to the Med Sup population, it is something that we need to look at, the different election periods that are available to us, all the extra steps, even the pieces that are coming out continuously on weather, or gee, I saw a SEP for civil unrest in one of the states here not long ago. This will come to you as part of the follow-up as well. And it's important for us because we need to make ourselves available as a resource one way or another to the people that we're talking to, because they're not doing annual reviews. Kaiser Family Foundation shows that 57% of them, the Medicare beneficiaries, they're not reviewing their coverage annually. The folks that are in special needs, in a manner of speaking, the folks that need that review the most, are a good percentage of that folk that's not. And even if they are, they're having some challenges understanding it. So that's where our role as a teacher becomes very important. And in order for us to do that, we've got to be able to get in front of them, because they're not even using the plan finder that the government makes available. So we've got to look at this and realize we need to go off the normal cow path that we've been following. I grew up on a farm. It's amazing how cattle in a pasture will follow the same path. You chase them off it a little bit, they come back to it. We need to look at how can we then look at this situation, go from the caterpillar to the beautiful butterfly, and embrace the change. And I think some of the things that we do in the new normal can really help us expand our reach by using tools such as we discussed today. And I don't know if any of you have ever had fish, but they get bigger when they're in a larger body of water. And that's some of the things that we look to help you with today, be it in an in-person basis when you meet with them, or virtually. It's one of the reasons we really like working with Cigna, is the fact that they bring us a number of tools for our agents to perform in either scenario here. And so obviously when we talk about social media, we're dealing with a lot of the virtual world, and let's go off the premise that these people are also becoming much more acquainted with the delivery of information in that manner. And we have the community training the folks to respond to these types of outreaches as well. Doctors, hey, over the last year, I've got one doc I've seen 9 times, but I've seen him through my smartphone. We're being trained by our physicians and other caregivers in a virtual environment. And that even wanders over into the hospitals, where a whole bunch of the upfront stuff is being handled virtually. And it even deals with teledentistry. If you want to move beyond that portion of our lives, online church services are really still big. So we have folks out in the community changing or training our folks to get into this type of information delivery. And it becomes then of a question of, are we going to buy a delivery system of this information, or are we going to build it ourselves? Because the whole little bit of you build it and they will come doesn't necessarily happen. So we want to make certain that we deliver upon the information we need. So That's the source of today's topic. So when we look at Medicare carrier help with social media campaigns, we've invited a couple of folks to come on and visit with us. Ms. Rachel Cooks, who's the digital solutions advisor for Cigna's government business, working in a digital sales advisory. She's going to walk us through the bulk of this presentation. And we've also asked that Ms. Kelly Vila, who's our national director and broker strategist for Medicare with Cigna, come on and visit with us as an adjunct for that. So as we roll into this, we look at the Cigna social media program and see some of the different pieces that will come into play. And with that, Rachel, I invite you to start chatting away. I turn the helm figuratively over to you. Just let me know when you need the slides advanced, and here we go.
Thanks, John. Thanks for letting Kelly and I join today. Can everyone hear me okay? Just want to do a quick sound check.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to check. So again, thanks for letting us hop on today and share the opportunity of social media and the program here at Cigna. A little bit about me, even though John gave me a great introduction. I'm Rachel Crooks. I'm the Digital Solutions Advisor here at Cigna Medicare. I've been with Cigna for about 4.5 years. I've been in sales for 2.5. And prior to this little specialized role that I moved into, I was actually a broker account manager. So I was assigned to several of our top lines for about 2 years, just working through their day-to-day support, anything that they needed from Cigna as an agency. So that work really helped inform this role because I'm pretty intimately familiar with the broker channel and how Cigna can support you and the support that you need from us as well. So all of that experience has gone into this new role, of which a huge part is advocating for our social media program, helping brokers build their social media presence, answering questions, the whole nine. So just a quick introduction. Wanted to say I'm happy to be here today. I'm going to be giving you a quick overview of the program, why social media, why you should care about it. But I wanted to do a quick caveat that, of course, social media isn't mandatory. It's not mandatory at Cigna. It is simply an enhancement or a tool that you can use in addition to all your other tools, and one that we think has been growing in its importance, especially over the last year. So I'm happy to be here today. So quickly going to go through this slide. I think you can probably understand that, of course, social media is a COVID-friendly way to generate leads. But even prior to COVID and the whole last year, social media was really on the rise in general. If you think about everyone that ages into Medicare each day, you know, majority of those professionals have a LinkedIn or have a Facebook already. So the population that's coming in is already familiar with these tools, and they're not just going to let up using them. Even as they, move into retirement, they're still going to want to continue to communicate with their friends and family. And then, of course, over the last year, as John mentioned, people are continuing to use the internet to connect with their friends and family, do their research, do their shopping. They want to spend a little bit more time kind of reviewing things on their own before they reach out. So having a social media platform is sort of an easier way to kind of get your name and your brand out there to attract and be in that pool of research that all these folks are exploring a little bit. Cigna defines social media as a way to really kind of promote your thought leadership, share a core company message for your agency, and really kind of take a viewer or your audience member on a journey from, realizing who you are, what service you provide, engaging with you, and then that moves into lead generation, which of course moves into enrollment, and then even beyond that, brand loyalty, right? So it's the entire customer journey. They can interact with you on social media that way. So it's not just kind of a lead gen and then you convert them and that's sort of the end of it. They continue to engage with you throughout their entire customer journey with you. Another good way to think about social media is it's always working for you. So if you think about some of the other lead generation avenues that you might have been exploring, so, maybe like advertising in a newspaper or a mail drop or a billboard or something that's a little bit more paper, those kind of have almost like a relevancy period, right? So if you do a mail drop, then it's going to hit the homes on X date, and then might be relevant for a couple weeks after, and then it kind of peters out. But if you're consistent with social media, it's working for you 24/7. So all of those night owls, all those folks that are up super late, 2 a.m, stressing about the fact that they're going to be aging into Medicare and they have questions, they don't know who to go to. They're up at 2 a.m. and they're typing in Medicare into the Facebook search bar. If your agency pops up or you pop up, they can learn a little bit about you and your brand and the service you provide, and maybe they'll send you a message, or maybe they'll comment on one of your posts, so that when you wake up, you already have somebody that has engaged with you while you were sleeping. So it's constantly working for you if you stay consistent with it. The other advantage of having a social media account and using it is that you get to extend your conversations with your audience beyond an event or function that you have. So if you're doing in-person events, you're doing virtual events, sometimes when you ask, at the end, the call to action, right? Please contact me if you have any questions. There's always going to be those folks that, kind of feel pressured and maybe like hesitant to reach out right after your presentation. If you lead them to your Facebook, or you lead them to your LinkedIn, that gives them a chance to kind of explore you a little bit more after they've already listened to your event or your webinar, and then reach out when they want to, right? So that they connect with you, they don't lose that connection right away, and they can kind of explore who you are a little bit more before reaching out, and it adds a little bit more comfortability for them. And then lastly, I know I mentioned this kind of before about the customer journey, but it really isn't just the sale, but retention as well. So something that we talk a lot about in the training is social media is about building your personal brand, and at the service you provide sort of secondary, right? So if you are, constantly posting about the service you provide, it can kind of get a little bit spammy and that might turn your audience off a little bit. But if you're doing a good mix of, hey, I have a service I can provide, and then if you post an article about, maybe an article from Forbes about heart health or mental health, or something that's a little bit more educational, people are more apt to engage with you because you are an industry thought leader. They trust what you have to say, and they want to know a little bit more about maybe the topic you just posted about, and then that will lead into a broader conversation about the service you provide. So in the training, we do talk a lot about the difference there, and those leads tend to be a little bit more sticky because they trust you and your knowledge, not just engaging with you because of the service you provide. John, we can go ahead and move forward.
Here we go.
Okay, thank you. So question we get all the time: why should I care about social media? Because seniors aren't on it. That could not be more wrong, right? So our training is actually developed by our Cigna Social Media Center of Excellence. That is the entire team that runs Cigna's Facebook page, Twitter, YouTube. I think they're even trying to get on TikTok. So that whole team that runs Cigna's social media channels, their sole job is to engage with seniors through Cigna's platform. And they know better than anybody that seniors are definitely active on social media. Some of these stats here are pulled from our vendor at Customer Focused Strategies, but you kind of see that they explain the same thing. Seniors are on social media, primarily Facebook, which is, of course, part of our program. They're getting more comfortable with technology, right? So they don't just have a Facebook or just have a LinkedIn. They're actually using it. They know how to comment. They know how to like. They know how to engage with you. They have a smartphone. So, as the world starts to open a little bit more, people aren't going to be in their homes as much, and they're not going to be in front of their desktop computers. So they have these platforms in an app form on their smartphone, continuing to engage with you on the go. The baby boomers, we mentioned them a couple of times. All those folks that have LinkedIn's from their working days continue to keep in touch with their old colleagues. They might follow you on LinkedIn and, continue to engage with you that way. So another thing to think about is not just the senior population contacting you, but their children and their grandchildren, obviously very active on social media in general. So if one of them is asked, hey, can you help me find an agent that can help answer my Medicare questions or my MedSup questions, they might not feel comfortable doing that, but their children or grandchildren might, and they might find your page and refer their mom or their grandparent to you to start a conversation. So think about all of the audience that you can potentially be reaching just by having a Facebook and LinkedIn and using it consistently. Okay, cool. Thanks for advancing. So talk a little bit about the program here at Cigna. So we do focus on Facebook and LinkedIn right now. Those are the most active for seniors. We are considering adding Twitter, but it's not part of the program right now. So future enhancement, if you have a Twitter, we're considering that. But if you are, no matter where you are on your social media experience level, we pretty much take all comers, right? So we understand that social media can be really complex if you've never really dove into it. And then you add in the compliance pieces, right? And it can kind of just be really overwhelming. We understand that. And so that's why we welcome every experience level, right? So the training talks about how to build your Facebook and how to build your LinkedIn from the very beginning. We go through a live demo during the training of how to do that. If you have a Facebook and you haven't been in it in a while, or you have a LinkedIn and you have no idea what your login is, we talk about those kinds of things. How to set your settings so that your account is public so people can find you, the difference between a follower and a friend, all of those kinds of things. We cover all of that so that you're set up for success with the profile, which is first and foremost. I've talked a lot about consistency being key with social media. So we don't just train you and say, let us know if you have questions, right? We'll continue to give you key accounts to follow so that you can stay up to date, but also share things, right? There's a reshare button on all of the Facebook and LinkedIn accounts that will let you follow, so that if they post something that you think is relevant for your audience, you can reshare it. So you don't actually have to come up with organic content every time. We give you some key accounts to follow that are relevant to the industry. Of course, we'll talk about compliance, right? Because that's key in everything we do here at Cigna. So we'll cover all of those pieces, right? What you can treat as consent to contact, what you can't treat as consent to contact, how to respond to negative comments in a compliant way, right? Because we know with social media, there's always a chance that someone has something negative to say. So we cover all of those pieces. If maybe you're a little bit wary of the compliance part, don't worry, we cover it. We also talk about the difference between marketing and educational content. So the marketing piece, like I mentioned, would be kind of, I have a service to provide. Please contact me if you have questions about X, Y, Z. And then the educational content is more so those Forbes and AARP articles, right? Things that are just purely educational in nature. And that's kind of the brand building pieces. Those are the things that will bring people to trust your knowledge and you being a SME in the industry.
So here's our first poll, and let me see if I can do this correctly. So we're going to go through 3 in a row here really quickly with the different polls. The first one is, of course, do you use social media now for your personal use? Let me see if I can't bring that up. Oh boy. Here we go. We're collecting responses. I will hum the Jeopardy theme for a few moments so we have them come in. Okay, you didn't hear it because I didn't do it. The polls are coming in. We're still collecting some responses, Rachel. Right now, it's quite heavily noted with personal use of, yeah, we do. Over 80%, well over 80% of them do. So let's give that a moment yet. We're showing about 80% of you have voted. No, I will sing that song. No, I won't. Let's go ahead and close that poll because overwhelmingly, yes, we're all active in the social media space for personal use. When we look at it now, how do you use social media now for business use? So let's pull up that poll really quickly. Rolling in much as we suspected, much lower participation in it for business use. That's why we have presentations such as today. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so. I threw in option number 3 for folks that think like me, because we always thought, boy, we can do better. So the old, yeah, kinda. And that's coming in second over no. Give it just a few more seconds. And we're seeing, of course, that a substantially lower number of people who participate in social media for business use versus personal use. I know I got on Facebook years ago just to track some family that a little different animal than some of the business use we do or I do with it now. Let's go ahead and close that one. We're seeing 54 yes, 21 no, and 25 kinda. And look at the third piece here. What social media do you use presently? So let's pull that one up. And you've got 5 different choices. And Rachel mentioned the fact that most popular in our demographic, of course, is Facebook and LinkedIn. We see that a lot. Some folks tweet, some of us don't. Some use Instagram, fewer than what you might think. And many of us post videos and other things on YouTube. So we're seeing, of course, the big two come into play, YouTube coming in third. We did not list either TikTok or the new sensation of Clubhouse or the left parlor completely off because of some of the fun that's going on there. We'll give that just a few more seconds and we'll roll on. Rachel, this might give you some indication of what our audience is doing, and 90% of them are on Facebook for us as a social media avenue. So let's do a few more seconds. And we're staying pretty stable there. We'll go ahead and close that one and move on for the moment. And back to you, Rachel.
Perfect. Thank you, John. And everyone, thanks for answering those polls. We just kind of wanted to get a general idea of the audience and familiarity with social media. Even if you use it just for personal use, think about like how much of a leg up that gives you, right? So the lingo, being familiar with something like what a post is, right? Or how to share something or how to reshare something, liking, commenting, direct messaging. All of that lingo is, pertinent to using the page for business use as well. So already have a leg up if you use it for personal and you're just familiar with kind of the general layout and how it works. That's step one, right? So thank you for answering those questions. We just kind of wanted to get an idea. Okay, so a little bit about the training. I talked about what it will cover. I mentioned that all experience levels are welcome. It is virtual and instructor-led, so you will register if you're contracted with Cigna today. You will register for the training on the Cigna Producers University portal. If you're not contracted with Cigna today, we encourage you to do so, of course. But that Producer University portal is kind of like our one-stop shop for broker access. It has all of our resources on there, everything you'll need to sell for Cigna, and then it has a training calendar basically that has all of our training dates. So this is where you would find the social media training. Our next one is June 8th. So if you're contracted with Cigna, I encourage you to go register for that date and get it on your calendar. Not contracted yet, of course, encourage you to do so, but that gives you some time to do so and get all set up. So we hope to see everyone there on June 8th at 11 a.m. It is an hour and a half. We do have 6 more training dates coming soon throughout the rest of the year. When we get those scheduled, of course, we'll be sure to communicate those. And of course, I'll let Kelly know so she can communicate to the Premier team and keep everybody in the loop. We are working on getting a recording of the training. When we rolled it out, we kind of wanted it to be instructor-led just because of the breadth of content and the complexity, and we wanted to make sure that everyone was set to go. But for anyone asking if there's going to be a recorded version of the training, kind of like a self-guided version, we are working on that. Just haven't gotten there yet, so more to come there.
And I want to interject here really quickly, Rachel. This is one of the reasons why we're utilizing today's presentation as we are. If you'll note, that's an hour and a half training, and it is a requirement to use the social media campaign with Cigna. We wanted to make certain that you understood what was coming with it, and so you felt comfortable with devoting and investing that time in that manner for you. And the reason there is such a time on that is, well, it's a darn thorough presentation, and the timing of today's presentation more than a month ahead of that time, it gives you the opportunity to make certain that you have time on your calendar for it. If you're not contracted with Cigna, that month's breadth gives us the time to make certain that we're able to bring you on board and have you eligible for those trainings. So there's a kind of a number of reasons why we want to make certain that you understand what all is coming to you through this program to invest that amount of time at this point in the year. Here we go. How you register for it, Kelly, or pardon me, Rachel, back to you.
Thanks. Yep, we don't have to spend too much time on this slide. Just wanted to quickly do visuals if you're a visual learner. You know, if you're contracted with Cigna and you're familiar with Producers University, you would just click that icon. And then you can kind of toggle over to the June dates if you'd like. I think there's currently like 5 pages out there, so you could toggle along and look for this title, or you could just type social media into the search bar. And then, of course, the most important piece, you would click that register button that will actually send you an invite, block off your calendar for the June 8th date. So if you have access to Cigna Producer University today, I encourage you to do that after the training, or after
Awesome.
today. Cool. Alrighty, so kind of what happens after the training, right? So let's just say you come to the training, and what will you unlock, basically? So, you know, we don't want to just kind of like throw you to the wolves, right? We want to continue to help you use your social media that you've just built or enhanced after coming to the training. So we do have these customizable Cigna branded posting templates. These have all been filed and approved, so they're all ready to go. So once you take the training, we will ask you to, of course, sign a licensing agreement just so that you have the ability to share the Cigna logo. And then we give you access to these templates. These are just 2 versions right now. We have 20 plus versions. They all kind of say different things, but of course they've all been pre-approved and filed. The one on the left is kind of more of like an electronic business card, right? So it has space for you to add your name, your phone number, your email. We have ones that are, you know, AEP specific, right? So kind of like the ones you can use during AEP that'll say, you know, December 7th is the deadline. Or we have pre-AEP specific. So, you know, don't forget open enrollment is, you know, October 15th. So we have a bunch of different ones out there that you can select at any point. You can post 2-3 times a week, however often you want to. But of course, has the Cigna colors and the brand and some stock photos. The one on the right is an event one. Of course, we have different versions of this and different colors as well. But if you're having a Cigna event or a Medicare 101 event, you can kind of put in the date and time. We also have a retail program at Cigna. So if you are doing a pop-up event at a local Walmart or Walgreens, you can put that in there as well. Move on to the next slide.
If I can interject you real quickly here too, Rachel. I think one of the things that folks see in this is obviously in the bracketed material, that's where you can put in your pertinent information, obviously, but that's a fillable piece that keeps you in compliance. And we see a lot of folks look for, how can I do some things as a general outreach on Medicare? This does have the Cigna logo for you, but it's a pre-approved piece, so you don't have to recreate the wheel. And the second part is what Rachel alluded to a bit earlier, where you're using some of the health and wellness articles in a continuous effort to stay in front of your population. That's the big thing. Are you there as a facing on the shelf in order to make certain that you have the proper outreach? Because, you know, what you did 2 days ago on the great interwebs is quickly forgotten. And part of what we need to do is stay in front of people. So much for that.
Perfect. Thank you, John. So in addition to those templates that you can customize, we also give you some copy text or commentary text that you can post along with the picture, right? So these were created by our marketing teams. They're a little bit jazzy, but these were also filed and approved. So basically when you go in, you just pick the picture that you want to customize, and then we give you some copy text to post along with it. So you just mix and match as you please. These also have customizable components of them as well. So things like an electronic BRC link, if you have one of those, Cigna will provide you one of those if you'd like, or if you have another one that maybe your agency has provided for you, you can put that in there. WebEx links or Zoom links, if you are having an event and you want to use the registration link for that, you can put those in there. Your phone number, your email, and those personalized URLs, Cigna has one as well, but if you have one that has all of your carriers, you can put that there. Those are the Plan Compare websites. So we give you a breadth of options you can use for commentary text, and you can mix and match as you see fit.
And a quick little 2 cents on there too, that personalized URL, I don't think we can understate or overstate the value of that. A great tool given to you by Cigna. You can utilize it directly or link it on your website, whatever it happens to be. So some great things that Cigna comes up with for us to make certain that we stay compliant, but we're also in front of our audience. So.
Yep, and this is just kind of putting it all together visually. So this is Caitlin Gailey. If you join the training, you'll recognize her voice. She actually is part of that COE, and she does our trainings. So she just put an example together for us. This happens to be an event one, but this is how she would showcase an event using those two components together, the commentary text and the editable posting template. All right. And then something we also do that's very unique to Cigna is, we know that, or I can't stress enough that consistency is important with social media. Very unlike a mail drop or something where you push it out there and leads come in, you do have to stay consistent with social media for it to be effective. It very much is a long-term game. But as I mentioned, the leads and the referrals and the people that engage with you are much more sticky because you're staying top of mind for them. But we know that you're busy. We know that you have a lot of appointments. We know that during AEP, social media might not be the top of your mind when you're, going to all these appointments and events and so on and so forth. So we try to make it easy for you to, kind of plan your week and get content ready so that you don't have to think about it, on the fly all the time. So we do publish this Social Media Minute. It's our content newsletter. Once you join the training and sign the licensing agreement, you do get added to this distribution. It goes out every 2 weeks. I actually make it myself. So something that I curate every 2 weeks. And I pull in those health and wellness articles that we've talked so much about. So there's typically about 4 to 5 health and wellness articles in each newsletter. And it's purely suggested content, right? So you don't have to use any of these content. There's no obligation for you to do so, but if you wake up on a Wednesday and you feel like you want to post something, but you just don't have the time to go scrolling around on the internet to kind of find an appropriate article to post, come to the newsletter, read through some of the ones that we have, and, go ahead and share them to your social media. This one right here happens to be about telehealth, right? So a lot of times these articles are actually posted on Cigna's own channels. So, people are kind of getting it from two different avenues, from your page and from Cigna. And I try to stay very relevant to what's going on. So, mental health. May is mental health awareness. So the edition that I'll be publishing this month is going to be heavy on mental health awareness. Sometimes there's recipes or exercise tips, for seniors, things like that. So a wide variety of health and wellness articles for you to post. And then, of course, at the bottom of every social media minute is the link to all of those templates. You don't have a picture of it here, but it's always there, top of mind. If maybe you lose the link to the training materials, or you lose the link to the templates and things like that, it's at the bottom of this newsletter that comes out every 2 weeks. So we want to make sure that we are helping you stay consistent and helping you continue to post on your social media.
That's awesome. And it's neat to note too that if you follow your carrier partners on these social media accounts, they're going to feed you this sort of information. And this is one of the things that Cigna is really good at, is making certain that you have pertinent material. So watch for those as well. Finally, the last poll for today. Let's pull this one up. This will give us some detail on making certain that you have the information reiterated to you as the possibilities of using Cigna's system, being prepared for it, and then making certain that you're one of the folks that RSVP to those trainings that Rachel mentioned a bit before. It's important because there is space challenges a lot of times when you have a large agent footprint and you have systems that have some limitations as to how many people come on the different webinars, and we want to make certain that there's space for you and that you have a chair, in a manner of speaking, working. our systems will, here at Premier on this particular software system, will allow us up to 5,000 participants. That'd be wonderful, and it'd be hell at the same time. So many times we will see some limits put on this in order to make it as interactive as possible, and you have perhaps 500 seats or whatever, and you look at all the agents across the country, that is obviously a challenge sometimes in order to make it work. And you can tell I've been stalling to make certain that you have time to vote. And so we're seeing 82% of folks that are, pardon me, I thought I had my other phone shut off, that we need to get you some additional information to make certain that you're ready to go with this. So Rachel and Kelly, we will have additional details for you, for the folks, to make certain that we take care of those looking for that intensive 1.5 hour training, which is an incredibly good investment of your time, but one we wanted to give you a bit of a foreshadowing for today before we went into that. So there's that. We'll close that and let's go on.
Alrighty. So my closing slide here, just kind of next steps. If you are currently contracted with Cigna, please go and register for that June 8th training. If you're not currently contracted with Cigna, I'm sure Premier will be ready to help you there, but you have ample time to get contracted and all set up to join that June 8th training. And then one thing that we noticed over the last couple months is, if you haven't gotten started with your social platform yet, if this is all brand new to you, we understand that it can be really overwhelming, new platforms, new terms, new everything. So we created a creation walkthrough for Facebook and LinkedIn. It's actually out there on Cigna Producers University. It's under the Sale tab, or you can just search social media and you can find it. But it very much is a step-by-step PowerPoint presentation with pictures, how to create a login, how to edit your profile photo, how to adjust your settings so that you're public. We do cover this in the training, but if you're one of those people that learn kind of self-paced on your own with visuals, we did create this walkthrough for you. It's not required. You don't have to do it before the training. It's more of like an optional prep work if you need it. So we do have that available as well.
That's awesome. Get the basics down, and then we block and tackle our way through the program for success. So what we'd like to do now, in addition to thanking Rachel for the presentation, is give you some additional reasons why you'd want to do that in conjunction with us here at Premier. Many of you, well, we work with you with your Cigna contracting now. There may be some of you that we don't. Keep in mind, if you're contracted with another organization for Cigna, this opportunity is available to you. It's not a Premier exclusive. I don't mean to come off in that fashion at all. We want to help you drive your business regardless. And I think this would be very, very helpful for you to do so. And it'll really boost your business as you go along. One of the things we have with social media is kind of the instant gratification to a degree. But as you establish your brand and your presence on the internet, sometimes that's not immediate. It takes a bit of consistency, as Rachel said. And here's why you'd want to do it with us. Well, one of the things that we can do is contract you electronically with a number of different programs that can help you aid in your success, create an agent profile in our assurance-based software, and do the contracting process electronically. We'd send you a direct link for Cigna to make certain that we do that as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, get you through the certification process and everything else we need to in this fashion. But it gives you then the opportunity to do some other things quickly. Everything's going electronic in this fashion, much as where you see the e-apps. Gee, it's hard to do a paper app nowadays, thankfully. In a previous role, I saw where 80% of applications were pended because people in home offices couldn't read our handwriting. This gets away from that even in the contracting process. We do also make available to you access for discounted errors and admissions coverage for qualified agents. What's that mean? Well, you got a contract with us, but this is a program you own. It's not adding you to a blanket policy for one carrier. It covers you across the board for the different products that you offer and the different organizations that you offer them through. So we realize we're not the only marketing organization out there. This helps you cover your financial wherewithal through errors and admissions. We also help you keep your license in play through bundled continuing education courses through WebCE and our association with that organization. And we also help you add to your own benefit package as an independent agent, where you can pick up modified guarantee issue, non-cancelable DI coverage for yourself and be paid a commission on it. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded and will be sent to you and is posted on our websites, we have our library of past presentations that are there for you as well, dealing with carrier information, dealing with product information, dealing with different marketing techniques to help you get in front of the public to offer them what you have to offer. And this is a great way for you to do things at your own schedule, those sorts of things, but to realize that much of this translates over. Is it live or is it Memorex, like the old commercials? Boy, I'm dating myself there. But it gives you the opportunity then to expand that base anytime you choose to do so through our website at premiersmi.com or our YouTube channel. And we do offer complimentary electronic tool access through our Medicare Center program, where you've got a universal login that gives you access to 3 different quoting engines and a CRM that's available to you, takes care of the whole electronic scope of an appointment electronically and stores it for you for that 10-year period that's required. Keep in mind, that scope of appointment has to be collected if you sell them or not, and stored or not. So this gives you an opportunity to make certain that you're doing so securely while accessing the quote engines powered by Connecture, Sunfire, and CSG. That CSG tool gives you also some really cool cross-selling components. Cigna software can do that for you within their portfolio as well. It's just this gives you an opportunity to not only do that cross-selling, but preface that conversation through sharing those tools. When we speak of the Medicare Advantage and PDP space, the maximum compensation for those programs are set by the government and do not apply in this particular circumstance. But some of the other programs that are out there will have different incentives, cash incentives, marketing programs, trips that are available through doing business with those particular carriers. And they do also help you qualify for the Premier Incentive programs, which last year, like many of them, were to be a cruise. Like many of them, well, it wasn't a cruise. We translated ours into a virtual vacation that dealt with the doling out of a bunch of cash. So watch for that information too. We have different programs that can help you get in front of people. In addition to all the training pieces that we've already referenced, we have a contact list available for you for cold calling campaigns. Keep in mind, some programs allow that, some don't. When you speak to the Medicare Advantage and PDP space, nope, can't cold call, but you can for other programs. And Cigna's portfolio does offer some of those other ancillary benefits that do allow for that campaign. The costs of those lists are minimal to nothing, depending upon your contracting arrangement with our organization. And then, of course, dealing with the community-based programs, those centers of influence that help us throughout the year. Rachel referenced the retail program in which they participate. That's something that if you're doing that just during AEP, you're really cutting your nose off to spite your face, in a manner of speaking, because that's a source of enrollment year-round. It's that contact with that space that gets you those referrals to people that are moving in an area or just aging in, or however you can reach out to them. We also have different programs that can help you with other centers of influence that perhaps want you to do a seminar or a webinar presentation. And those centers of influence in many cases are folks that attend a faith-based organization, and they're not responding to direct mail. They're not responding to other outreach, but they do respond to outreach through their church, mosque, synagogue, whatever. And we have a program set in place to help you with that, as we do with the folks that are actually delivering upon the care or the programs for which we're insuring. So those different providers. One of the links that you'll see in the library there deals with past presentations on that. Some of the carriers will also generate prospects that are available to you on a year-round basis. When you work in the MA and PDP space, that's more of a symbiotic relationship. So as you've done business with a carrier such as Cigna during AEP, more likely to want to do business with you year-round and provide leads if available. So watch for that. We do have internet leads and direct mail support as well. The direct mail is a co-op based on production that can drive down the cost of a regular mailing. So you can do it consistently, because direct mail is kind of like an exercise program. You do it just once, you might think you see a little bit of benefit, you feel a bit of pain. You do it consistently, that's where you see the true return on it. This allows you to do so and minimize that cost. And we have it through different vetted lead vendors, because we want to protect you on the backside to make certain that the communications that is chosen are compliant, and we are covering you with that scrutiny. If, however, you want to kind of fill in or add to your lead flow based on mail returns, not managing the entire campaign, these leads obviously aren't as fresh as a directed campaign by yourself, because you get those the same day they come in. These are a few days older than that, obviously, but we have two different sources that can help you with that. These are non-contacted responses through a couple of different campaigns. The YIG, never distributed direct mail campaigns, your insurance group campaigns. There's a third category now that has been recently added, in addition to the T65 and MedSup, a compliant MA campaign as well. So some different pieces that are available to you to fill the holes or whatever it takes. And those prices will vary because of response, the area in which you're targeting. Some respond better than others. That's just the way it works. We do also have a Facebook campaign for final expense and Medicare as well. The Medicare leads are based on procuring a review or a MedSup type of program in order to make certain that we stay compliant as well. All this said and done, we do all these different campaigns. We work with fine carriers such as Cigna in order to deliver upon a possibility to improve your business, get you where you want to go as well. And so we're looking for that business from you as well. And we would like the honor of you referring us to other individuals in the industry that need this help as well. So all that said and done, as we go through what Cigna offers, we want to make certain that you, as over 80% of you have indicated, that you see a value in this program and you look to move forward. So what we're looking to do is modify a line out of John Wayne and the Cowboys. We're burning daylight. We want to put it in play really quickly, as quickly as possible, and get you that information so this can become a standard part of your overall marketing program. Because let's face it, we're never going back to the business entirely the way it was in the past. There is a new normal, and one of the links you'll see in the follow-up is a link to a recording on our navigating in the new normal in the Medicare space, which gives you some generic overtones for these types of campaigns as well. So I'm going to check for questions to make certain that we cover everything. Yeah. 3 questions. They're all covered as part of the campaign. I thank you for that. And watch for that communication that we'll send out, the follow-up email with the links to some of the other information that I talked about. You can respond to that in order to make certain that we're getting to you as quickly as possible. You can reach us at our toll-free number at 1-800-365-8208. If you've been working with a marketer within our organization, obviously they'll have this detail and they'll help you with this. If you aren't working with our organization, we'll make certain that you have a subject matter expert that can help you with this and walk through it. And you can also go to our website at premiersmi.com. They have the lovely Big Brother feature on there where you can fill out the JOT form, and we'll get you the information that way as well. So that said, just short of an hour, we realize that your most precious asset is your time. We thank you for the investment of that time with us here today. We also thank you for looking forward to the investment of future time and going through the entire program of social media campaigns with Cigna and how that can benefit you and your business. Thank you for that opportunity. For those of you who we have contracts with now, thank you for that, for the business that we have earned together with that, with your hard efforts and the work that you put into it. Thank you for that business. All that said and done, until we have the opportunity to visit with you here in the very near future, We thank you once again. We thank Rachel and Kelly for helping us with today's webinar. And until we visit, we wish you good selling. Thanks so very much, and we'll talk to you very, very soon.